Let me guess, you're a car guy or girl that wants to switch teams. Welcome to the fold. Here's what motorcycle you should get. Do you drive a full-size truck? Well, I have a motorcycle for you. You should look into the esteemed ADV bike, that's short for adventure. They offer the same girthy utility that 95% of riders will not take advantage of, just like all the truck drivers on the road. A truck has the ability to carry cargo and luggage in the bed. It has a tall and comfortable ride height with good suspension for rough terrain if it is so required. A truck guy that is a real truck guy will probably have some big meaty off-road tires so you can get even worse MPG when he drives around the paved network of metropolitan surface streets or tailgating everybody on the freeway. Most trucks come equipped with quite a few creature comforts and tech features, some even having switchable power modes. Similarly, an ADV bike has much of the same functionality as a full-size truck. They have lots of space to accommodate luggage, they are able to ride comfortably on paved roads for extended periods of time, and do some light off-roading. Dads love trucks and dads love ADV bikes. Plus, they are both typically pretty expensive compared to your standard commuter vehicles. If you're a truck dad who is emerging on his second midlife crisis, maybe look into an ADV bike like a BMW GS 1250. The GS has a 1254cc flat twin engine that makes 136 horsepower and 103 foot-pounds of torque. I know you guys love your torque, and 103 is a pretty impressive figure for a motorcycle. Trust me. It's shaft-driven, uses a 6-speed gearbox, has plenty of tech like a TFT display, rider aids, power modes, and a USB outlet. It won't be an amazing off-road machine, but neither will your stock 1500 pickup. Some other ADV bikes worth looking into for truck guys are the KTM Super Duke Adventure or the Harley-Davidson Pan America. The next car guy on the list is the JDM Tuner Bro guy. Are they even called tuners anymore? I don't even know, because I'm an adult and I don't hang out with 18-year-old vapors. I'm talking like the guy who has a late model Subaru WRX that's had 3 engines replaced, or the Nissan GTR driver that has also had 3 engine replacements. These cars are always super modded, probably decently fast, but also pretty unreliable. They have a bunch of cheap parts and aesthetic mods all over them, and they're probably one hard pull away from a piston ejecting itself out of the side of the engine block. These guys should just sell their cars and get an MT-07 from Yamaha. The MT-07 is a nice and torquey motorcycle, perfect for hooligan riders, and the 270-degree crank has a better sounding burble than any straight-pipe Subaru Boxer engine could ever dream to have. The MT-07 isn't the absolute best handling bike on the side of the tire, but do you know what also doesn't handle that well? A 15-year-old car on eBay race coilovers. The MT-07 can feel a little bit cheap sometimes, but that's perfect because these car guys love cheap stuff. Cheap turbos, cheap suspension, cheap subwoofer in the trunk. It's almost as if the most expensive investment the owners of this type of car has made is the 200 air fresheners hanging from the rearview mirror. An MT-07 is a youthful, inexpensive, fun motorcycle that exudes a lot of the same energy as a JDM tuner car. If you're an off-road Jeep guy, I recommend a dual sport motorcycle. Don't worry, I'll try to keep the Jeep slander to a minimum. You got a Jeep, you jacked it up, you put it on big tires so it'd be more capable off-road, but with those modifications, you've also sacrificed its comfort or performance on the street. That could be equated to the dual sport motorcycle. With a dual sport, you don't need to have a truck or trailer to take your bike to and from the local trail or off-road area. You can pop around town just fine, but you're not going to be setting any land speed records on the freeway. And one of the best dual sport motorcycles on sale is the Honda CRF 450L. There are bikes from other manufacturers that may be more powerful or better off-road or cheaper or lighter, but I really think the CRF 450L is one of the best all-around dual sport bikes when compared to the competition. Did I buy one when I got my Husky 501? No, I did not, but that's because I'm a fancy boy and I needed the Husqvarna because of reasons. It has a 450cc liquid-cooled single-cylinder engine that makes 42 horsepower and 28 foot-pounds of torque. Now, that might not sound like a lot compared to an ADV bike like the one I mentioned earlier, the GS 1250, but the CRF weighs just 291 pounds wet and ready to ride. Combine that with the tall ground clearance, adjustable suspension, and overall suspension travel, and you have a machine that's super capable of ripping around some trails. And you can always get a set of supermoto wheels and tires and have a really fun bike for committing acts of tomfoolery on paved roads. And it's a Honda, so you have reliability that no Jeep has ever seen. I told you I'd keep the slander to a little bit of a minimum. Or maybe you're a car guy that likes sticking to the pavement, cruising around on some twisty roads with the top down in your little 2-door Roadster like a Mazda Miata or Honda S2000 or maybe a vintage Porsche. I think you'd really enjoy the neo-retro type of motorcycle. Many middleweight neo-retro motorcycles are actually referred to as roadsters because they share a similar purpose. They may not be the biggest or baddest, but they're fun, lightweight, playful, and charming. If you like the more vintage roadster cars, maybe look into a bike like a Triumph Bonneville T120. The Bonneville is a classic motorcycle icon whose style is still influenced from the Bonnie's mid-century heyday. The T120 has a 1200cc parallel twin making 79 horsepower and 77 foot-pounds of torque. It's not going to be a total speed demon, but it is a stylish motorcycle that has enough power to show you a good time, just like a little vintage Roadster. If you're more of a Miata or S2000 driver, a neo-retro bike like the Kawasaki Z900 RS or Yamaha XSR 900 should fit the bill. Both are modern bikes with classic looks and will be significantly faster than a Miata or an S2000 will ever be, while still being comfortable for riding around town. Now, I will say, if you're the Club Miata or Club S2000 kind of guy, you love ripping up track days, I really think a prepped ZX6R might be the best fit for you. Just gonna throw that in there. If you're a track day junkie, you got to get yourself a little Track Prep 600. Now, I'd like to take a minute to talk about the sponsor of today's video, Manscaped. Manscaped has been a longtime pioneer in men's grooming, and now alongside their trimmers and body products, they are offering the Body Buffer Scrubber. This scrubber is made of 100% antibacterial silicone, which means you can toss that musty old loofah in the trash once and for all. Using the Body Buffer along with the refined body wash included in the Buff bundle, and you'll more easily remove dead skin and bacteria and reduce your risk of BO or ingrown hairs. The refined body wash is made with aloe and sea salt, so it smells great and is super refreshing. The Buff bundle comes with the Body Buffer Scrubber and 2 bottles of refined body wash. If you go to manscaped.com/yammy, you will receive 20% off your order automatically added plus free shipping. Again, that is manscaped.com/yammy. Thank you, Manscaped, for supporting the channel. This next one's a little obvious. American muscle guys should probably just ride American V-twin cruisers. Vintage muscle cars are big, heavy, loud, and handle poorly. That is literally a Harley-Davidson in a nutshell. Specifically, a bigger Harley like a Softail or a Bagger with an absurdly large displacement more than a Sportster, which could be compared more to a Roadster if the handling wasn't so poor. Just like Harley-Davidson, a classic muscle car is not the fastest or anywhere near modern, but people love them because of the character, the history, and the nostalgia. A car guy who drives a modern muscle car like a Camaro or a Mustang would probably prefer something more like an Indian Scout Bobber. The Scout Bobber has an 1133cc V-twin engine that makes a decent 100 horsepower and 72 foot-pounds of torque. It has great character and style and a nice bark from the exhaust, but the Scout Bobber also has the modern performance and decent handling as far as a cruiser goes. It won't handle like a dedicated race bike, but it's fun to rip around town on, do some hard pulls, and enjoy the exhaust character in the same way a Mustang won't handle like a supercar. It's a big, beefy muscle car with history, character, and a big old grumbly V8. The Scout Bobber has a stout, muscle-bound look with its slammed rear and beefy tires, which is why I think American muscle car drivers would enjoy it. If you want something a little more sporty, but still with that same engine with a little bit more power, I'd recommend the FTR. You can get these in 17s with a really sporty configuration that is a great choice for all of you American muscle car lovers. And some people or car guys are just being sensible and fiscally responsible. They lust after exotic cars or vintage projects, but they can't bring themselves to drive anything beyond a normal commuter car like a Toyota Camry or Honda Civic. This is the type of car enthusiast who is comfortable watching from the distance as those around them live out their car fantasies and bankrupt their families. But he can have even more fun than his car driving counterparts and buy a motorcycle for the fraction of the price. If you're a responsible, modest car guy who wants a motorcycle that is reliable, easy to use and maintain, and more fun to ride than the family sedan, they should consider a street-oriented sport bike like the Kawasaki Ninja 650. The Ninja 650 has the aggressive Cowie looks with a docile parallel twin engine and comfortable upright seating position. While the Ninja makes a modest 67 ponies and 47 foot-pounds of torque, it will feel like a rocket ship compared to your average commuter car. Hopefully the Ninja 650 satisfies the need for speed that this car is clearly lacking in the daily driver without offending his sensibilities. After all, the Ninja 650 can be had for $8,000 brand new and will probably run forever. It is easy and comfortable to ride, and you would be happy to be used as a commuting tool. And with the 650, you don't have to feel bad about leaving so much of its power unused when riding it on city streets. It offers a practicality you just don't get from your standard 600 class race bikes. Perfect for the sensible Toyota Camry guy. Last motorcycle recommendation is for the supercar guy. This person obviously needs the highest tier of sport bike possible. Supercars are like absurdly expensive, fast, and practical, and cool, you know? Like, I get it for sure, but also I feel like that type of car, like Lamborghinis, Ferraris, so on and so forth, are reserved for the social elite or 22-year-old YouTube stars. Whereas you can get an exotic motorcycle like a Ducati Panigale or a Street Fighter V4S that are so fast, have so much character, and bespoke craftsmanship for like 10% of the cost of a supercar. Or a brand new H2 costs 32 grand. That is definitely the upper echelon of motorcycles, but is so cheap compared to a supercar that has similar speed. A Panigale V4S or an H2 both have sub 3 second 0 to 60 times, which is neck and neck with many supercars. Have you ever seen those videos on YouTube? They pull pretty damn hard. And if you currently drive a car with a 0 to 60 time faster than that, why are you even watching YouTube videos? Time is money, my guy. You should be out developing more passive revenue streams and not tipping at restaurants. And lastly, if you're an electric car guy, I'd recommend... Actually, no, I'm not even gonna go there. Thanks for watching the end of the video. Have you transitioned from a car enthusiast to a motorcycle enthusiast yet? Come on, everyone's doing it, even the guys over at Donut Media. Please subscribe if you liked the video. I'll see you later. Fact: the Pixar movie Cars is dedicated to John Rant, the film's co-writer and co-director who died in a car accident on August 16th, 2005, while Cars was still in production. Goodbye.